My name's Richard Rosenthal. We're gonna go over today a little bit about the phone numbers and how you can use it in Automate 365. That won't take the whole time here. So what I was going to also do is talk a little bit about some of the marketing piece where you could set up a drip campaign since Memorial Day right around the corner, and most offices will be closed. So I'll be able to show you how to use that feature. So inside of Automate, in order to send text messages from Automate, you have to have a phone line set up in the system. So it's not connected to like a regular phone line that you might have for your office if you're using like RingCentral or Lightspeed Voice. It's going to be it has to be connected through basically like a service like Twilio. And Twilio is like a developer-based a phone system that is going to be slightly different than like how RingCentral or those lines are set up. So when you get your account, you may see something along the top here that says something about like phone configurations haven't been set up or whatever. So in order to set that up, the first thing you're going to need to do is go into settings. You come into settings over here, and you'll see your company information. You may see your personal information depending on if you're in profile. So inside this area settings, you'll know you're in settings when you see all these different options right here. You can access settings a couple of different ways. And basically at the bottom here, you'll see the word settings. And then sometimes in different parts of the system, you can also access settings too. So we're going to go into the settings right here. And then right here where it says business services in the middle, it says phone numbers. Okay, so we have this. So in this agency right here, as you see, I have a phone number set up in here already. So basically, we're gonna we would be adding a phone number. So if you don't have anything in here right now, you can't just like enter your cell phone number or anything like that. You would actually have to select a number. So to select a number, we're just going to click on this little add phone number. And then, whatever country you're in, you would select the country that you're in, in most cases, the United States, and then whatever your local area code is that you're searching for. So like where I'm at, I'm in the 847 area code. I would just select 847. And then you click search. So no numbers were found. So some area codes, might might go fast. So let's say another area code in this area is 224. So now it's going to give you a list of phone numbers that are available in that specific area code. And what number do you choose? It's your call. So this is not designed to be, your phone line that you're using for your agency. This is designed from a marketing standpoint. So it really does not matter what number you choose. So I could just choose at random and just say, okay, I want 308-1495. That's the number I choose, boom. And then I just click on select that and then save. And then that's my new number. So basically what this number is going to be is this number is going to appear in any text message you send out. And if you can dial out, and at some point you will be able to actually receive calls on this very soon. I don't have the exact timeline on that, but so that is coming where if somebody were to call the number, you could dial it direct. And I'll show you how it works right now when they do that. So if for some reason somebody does call the phone number, it's not going to be a dead call. It will actually get transferred to you, and I'll show you how you set that up. Okay, so I'll just, I'm not going to select that number because I already have one selected over here. So we're going to use this number. So this would go to this screen basically after I've saved that, and it would go to this number. So now we're going to click on edit over here. And then, whatever, you can give it a name. And then forward calls to. So that's basically what we would want to set up for, currently right now. So if somebody were to call that phone number, someone, were to dial the 847-654-9940, certainly I would want that to go to my office line. If I had Ring Central, or if I had another phone service, I would want to put that number right here. So that way, if they dial this number, it would get transferred immediately to this number, right? Whatever was in this category right here. And then pass number as the caller ID. So basically what that allows that to do is, if you want to have that person's phone number, let's say, they're calling, it's one of your clients, and you want to see, so if you don't check this, it would pass the number that they're calling from as the caller ID. If you do check that, it would basically change the number. So in other words, you would see on your Ring Central number, or whatever your office line is, you would see this number as the caller ID. So if you check this, that they would show this number. If you don't check it, it would display the that person's phone number on your caller ID. The Call Connect feature, I believe, is a feature within a workflow to basically connect the call. With, if you're using it within a workflow, and I say, call this specific contact, that's what it would, basically enable that feature for. Let me just see if that's, receive pass in order to connect calls result in. Yeah, so basically, I believe, so this gets added to some of those reports that are in the system. A whisper message is basically going to be like, you can basically say like, hey, this is, ABC insurance agency, and so it would, announce that to that person, when they call, and then call recording. Basically, if you check that, it's when they call in, it's going to basically let them know that this call is being recorded, and I'll show you where those would show up in a minute. And then you can adjust the timeout range for when the calls are coming in or outgoing over here. So that's basically the setup. So that forwarding number is going to be like important. So when I send a text message out of the system, and let's go to any contact over here. So let's say, so like this one right here. So if I send a text message out to this person, let me just fix this here, this agency. I just sent a message basically to my own phone. If I wanted to call that back, so if I wanted to call that back right now, it's not going to get forwarded to any number because I don't have that set up in the system. So if I click phone call, so it would it's going to ring the number, and
its call is being connected.
It says. Eventually it'll should show up in here with a missed call or something like that. I don't know if I have that turned on that agency, but basically, yeah. So eventually, what would happen is it would show up in here as a missed call because I don't have a forwarding call set up for that, and then whatever whatever the recording would be showing up in this this specific contact, because that's where it was coming from. Let me just see if I even have that set up in this agency. Let's this callback, so that is set up there. Yeah, so just I need to have that set up. But normally, like I said, would you want to at least have that set up to where it's being forwarded to that number. And I think so. In this specific agency, this is a test agency. So whatever this number is right here, which I believe was our old number. Let me fix this because I think that's why I got a little glitch on that. 801 0. So two things. So if I don't set up a number inside the call forwarding over there, it's going to default to this number. So now if I try that again, it should go to NowCerts.
Your call is being connected.
So what happens this time? It's like glitching the way that's forwarding that.
Please enter your pass.
Okay, yeah, so I think it went to my voicemail box or whatever. So that's where so inside the settings over here, it's important to put your forwarding number over here. So I think it was going to the voicemail box. I think is what was messing that up. Try one more time here. Forward calls to 0. Try this one more time. Yeah, it's always like Al Capone's thing where it's like something doesn't work right exactly. Oh, shoot. Say it over this time.
Please enter your
Yeah,
password.
I think it's because of the phone system that I'm using here. So it does, like I said, I use this in my own agency, and so basically is when somebody calls, it routes the call right to to my phone system. I think it might be because we have a different system over here. Normally, like I said, this would be like a either wherever you want, if you want to transfer to your cell phone or whatever system that would be. So that's kind of how that part of the system works, as far as adding that. So once you have your phone number added here, now it's able to use it in other parts of the system. So if I come into if I come into like automation, and any automation that I have set up in here, whether it be to send a text or to send a so like for example this SMS over here. So what if the phone number is not set up, then anything regardless of what you put in here, if you add an SMS to any workflow, it's not going to send. So it has to have that phone number set up, and you would know from any contact, basically you would see something over here that would be like X'd out. So like in this case, which one did I send it from? So this contact right here, see how this basically says hi, and then you see that that this was a text message. If it had not if it had not worked or whatever, you would have seen like either not sent, or it would be like in red that it wasn't sent. And in this particular case, SMS is the only option available for this contact because we don't have an email address. If we had an email address, then it would give you both options at the bottom. So SMS is the only option, but you need to have that phone number configured in order for that part to actually work. Any questions on that part? If you have any questions, just throw it in the chat. As far as like how that part is set up, and how that part is actually used. You can have more than one phone number set up in the system. So if you want to have, each person have their own phone. You can set that up because you can actually dial out and make calls in the system. So once you have your number set up for your specific user, and I click on like this little green phone up here, this will actually make a call to anybody in the system. So you can dial out. Keep in mind on any of these things, whether we're talking about text messaging or phone calls, it's not free. So in other words, if you're using this at will or whatever, it's not 100% free. So what we do is based on your account, we're going to give you some credit. So basically is you're going to get these $10 in Twilio credits. That's kind of how Twilio charges work. And so what $10 in Twilio credits, what that buys you is on average about 650 text messages. So they're they don't cost a lot of per text. It may vary from cell phone carrier to cell phone carrier. Some might be a few cents, some might be a little bit more. So on average that will fluctuate a little bit. Also, the length of the message is going to matter. If it was an MMS, if you sent me a picture, that might change some of that. So it's not necessarily going to be exactly 600 texts, but so we're going to give you that in credits each month. If you are making phone calls from the system, that could eat into some of that cost. It's not that every phone call is going to cost like $10 or whatever, but if you're on the phone for an hour with a client, that could eat into some of those credits. So it's so just keep that in mind. If you go over the $10, basically then you are billed for what you actually used. So if you are using it for a couple hundred texts a month, you will not see any additional charges. So if you want to do like a campaign and you're sending out 3,000 texts to all of your insureds and letting them know about upcoming things that you're doing in your agency, you might see some in that case 3,000, you would definitely see some additional charges. You might see $30-$40 in Twilio charges for those additional text for that month. It's not something that it's an every time thing. So it basically is, you would set it up for however, and you can, I think, adjust that in the company billing. So when you come into in this agency, it doesn't show up there, but I believe in business info, there's an area over here that would have like company billing, and you can adjust how often it's charging, and if you can also see if it is actually charging your agency. So you can certainly see that over there. And you can, different people can have different numbers too. So I think I said that before. So if you come into my staff, you can adjust, what person has access to each number. And then, you can have it to where we send out the text from a certain number and only that number. And so, like I said, this works from the computer. So you can actually dial right here. If you have a headphone connected, you can make a call from there. Let's say you want to make a call from your actual cell phone. You can also do that. So when you are first setting up your account, you see this little option here where it says Launchpad. Launchpad basically is kind of like a reminder to set some different features up. So within the Launchpad, the very first thing right here is download the app for your phone. So if you click on send link, this will send the link right to your phone number. So if you just go into the Apple Store or the Google Play Store or whatever, and you just search up Lead Connector, you can get this. You can get it without sending the link to your phone. So the app is called Lead Connector, and basically once you download it to your phone, you would just log in with the exact same credentials you have for accessing Automate 365. Once you're logged in, then you have kind of like a mini version of this. So you could see your contacts, you could see, workflows and different things. You could see opportunities. So you can be able to see, what pipeline is in. So it's kind of like a mini view of that. But what you can also do from that is you can also make phone calls from that. So you can actually dial out from that. You could text from that as well, and that those texts wouldn't come from your cell phone. They would come from that phone number that you created in here. And same thing with emails. If you're doing it from within the app, it's going to send the emails from whatever you have connected in the system. So it's a great app. And when your insureds are texting you back, so that's how you can easily get notified that somebody replied to your text. So if I'm on the system and I see on conversations, I can see, hey, that person, text me back. But by the way, there's where all those calls, those incoming calls came in over there. But someone actually texted me back. I'm going to be able to see it right over here. And so I'll see it here, but I'm also going to see it on that app. So it would show up as a notification right on your phone, and it's not coming to your cell phone. And what's great about that is any text that gets replied, sent or replied, is going to get sent back to NowCerts on that record. So I would go into NowCerts on that record, it would show up there as well. I can go over here. Actually logged in right now at the moment. Let me second there. What insurer was that? That was 012622. So basically, any replies or anything that comes from would show up right over here. So you're seeing that's originating from Automate. So as a text that came in or something that was sent out, we're gonna push that information right back to here. So let's say any questions on kind of those topics on the phone or anything regarding that? Anything? Okay, perfect. So kind of switch gears a little bit here with the phone. With Memorial Day coming up, now's a good time to kind of give you a little introduction on the marketing aspect. So there's a couple of ways you could send out a campaign for let's say that your office is closing for for the day. Maybe it's in this case Memorial Day or Labor Day holiday, or if it's anything that maybe you're having an office party or something like that, and you're going to be closing for the afternoon, to kind of let your insureds know about what's going on. So I can do it a couple of different ways. I can actually create a workflow, and so by doing it in a workflow, I can just come over here to automation, and I can say, okay, create a workflow over here, go to start from scratch, and then just say we'll call this Memorial Day give it a name right there. And then, we would decide, okay, what do we want the workflow trigger to be? Okay, so the workflow trigger is going to be, how are any of these people going to get into the workflow? So I basically say, okay, is it going to be based on an activity that they're doing? Is it going to be based on a tag? So in this case, let's just say it's going to be based on a contact tag. I'm going to put a filter here. So if they have a tag of insured, and insured's always good because NowCerts is going to send that information from NowCerts over to here, and it'll tag them with those records. And also, let's say tag We want that one. And I'm also going to say contact tag added of prospect. So either way they can get it if they're an insured or a prospect. So either way, and you can make this a little bit more descriptive up here. So I can, you can see what's going on. So if anytime I add a trigger, it just adds another way that they can get into this workflow. They can't get in more than once. They can only get in one time. But so if they're insured, they'll get in. And if they're a prospect, they'll also get in. So that's our trigger. So NowCerts is going to send out. So anytime somebody comes into the system with those tags, boom, they're going to get added to this workflow. If they're already an insured or a prospect, they miss out. And I can show you how we get those, in addition. So this is going to be like for the ones going forward. So the first action is going to be, we're going to send an email. We're going to send an email, and basically is, this is going to be from who it's going to be from. So this would be the name, and then, whatever the email address is. And then, whatever the subject of the email. And then, so we have our email set up there, and then template. So we might already have this set up like in an email that we already have set up in the system. So you can, certainly utilize something you already have. And then here's going to be our actual message. So we have, so a custom value is going to be a prospect information. So here it would be from the contact section. And this is going to be anything from the contact. So maybe I want to say full name would be a little strange in an email. So maybe we would say first name. So put in hi John. And then so whatever our message is going to be. So whatever our office is going to close whatever you want to say in your actual message. Contact claims directly if you have any issues or anything like that. And then maybe we want to add a picture to that. So let's add a picture here. We click on this little picture. And we're going to upload a picture. I have this one over here. Kind of big. Oops. And you can easily just resize that here. So we have our picture in there, and then just whatever you want your message to be. If you have an attachment, you can add that as well. And then I can send this as a test. But before I do that, save there. We go into the settings of the email. So this is going to be the settings of this workflow. And I'll show you another way to do this in just a second. But so we go into the settings. This is how this workflow works. So they can get this message any time of the day. So anytime they get added to that workflow, whether it's during the day or in the middle of the night, that can happen. I can change this to be specific times. I could say send it only during the middle of the week from between the hours of 8 and 5. So if someone were to become an insured or a prospect outside of those times, it would wait till the next day. So you could fluctuate that information. Allow multiple. So we don't want to send this over and over and over, because so basically is we want to only send it one time. So otherwise you're gonna look a little strange to your insureds. So if I allow multiple, then they can get this email over and over and over. So leaving this off means they can only get this email one time. And then stop on response. This is more for a situation if you had multiple, steps in your workflow. Maybe we're sending another email, we're sending, follow up with something else. So that's where you'd want that stop on response. And then, right down here where it says the event start date. So this is if we're like doing like a webinar or something like that. So I would want all the steps in the workflow to go along with that specific date. So not really necessary to put anything there. So that's basically is when it's going to happen, who it's going to be from, and then this is going to be, so I can bypass whatever I don't have. I can put the information over here of what email it's going to come from. If I want all the emails to come from a specific email address, I can input that information over here. And then we just click. We turn this to publish. If we don't publish it, it won't work. So basically, you have to publish it, and then you would save it. And so you can always test it out. So you just come over here, and then you can just type in an email address over here, and then send a test email. And I'll go with my email address in here. And then, so basically what we get is this. So because this, so this message came up, and this is actually a good time to explain about emails. So if you look at where this email came from, I sent this from my test account in Automate. So this is the domain that it's sending it from. So I said, if you remember in the email itself, I said it's coming from Richard at NowCerts.net, but that's not who it came from. What Google is telling me, and this is something you want to make sure that we have your domain set up in Mailgun, is this didn't come from NowCerts.net. This came from Automate365.net. So if I were to put in the email, it's coming from info@automate365.net, I wouldn't have seen this message. Basically, Google is saying is, hey, it has some issues, basically, right here. So this demarc fails. So we want to make sure that the domain that it comes from is the domain that actually sent it. And that's really easy to fix. So just make sure when your account is set up that we're setting up your domain also for you. So that's kind of like what the email looks like. So that's just like kind of a real simple email. And then, like I said, you would publish it, and then we would just add those to the workflows as they have. So let me show you one other option here, which is a little bit fancier, a little bit nicer way to do it. And so that's going to be done from the marketing area. So we come to the marketing area, and this is not a workflow, but I can use these in workflows if I want. So we come to the marketing area, and we have this little thing up at the top here that says Email Builder. So you click on the Email Builder, and then we have whatever emails you've already created. So I kind of already created this one already, and basically looks similar. I use the same picture in here, but in this case, this gives us a lot more flexibility. I can add some video. I can add some, if you're really good with coding and things like that, you can certainly do that. You can add a button. You can add links and different things. So we can do a lot more functionality within here, and then the emails are going to look more like a newsletter or something like that. So I can make it look a little bit fancier, and then like a different type of a box with the footer, and maybe you want to put your social media links in there, so you can certainly do that. So this is basically the same type of an email. This one though is going to look differently when you send it out. So this is one I did earlier, basically. So this is, it's going to look a little bit livelier. So it's rather than just a same type of email. This is kind of what I was talking about. So this one I sent from my agency email. So in this case, we we pass all these things. So it came from, that's the email address that I sent it from, and this matches this. That's, like I said, that's what you want to make sure in that situation. So just a couple different options. If you want to use this email within the workflow, you can. So basically to do that, so in this case, that one was so over here. So when we come to the email, instead of, remember I said before about those templates? So yeah, basically I can just come over here and then here's our email. And now I don't have to change anything. The email's already done. Then you can just send it from there. So I could change this. So let's, so in this case, I was using it from there. So let's say, I think it's info at oops, I hit the wrong one. Sorry. Hopefully this works because I was using it as a test. And now, as you notice, I don't have that issue of the, who it's that phishing thing or whatever. So it's now, it's everything is a pass. So that's real important to have that. See, now this all matches. And to do that, you just need to get with us and on a new account, and we just make sure we add this your domain or whatever your company information is. We need to add that in there. It takes us a few minutes to set that up for you, so it's not coming from this domain here. So I'll leave it open to questions at this point. If you have anything about this option, or certainly anything else in the system, let me know. We're here to help you automate whatever we can. Any any questions at all about anything within automate? Anything, if you're running into any problems or glitches or anything like that, just let me know. I appreciate it. Thank you for joining. I'll hang around here for a few more minutes if anything comes up. But yeah, I appreciate you joining the webinar, and let us know if you need anything. Thanks.
We just got a question, Richard.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, absolutely. So can we send SMSs from the workflow memorial? Yeah, absolutely. So so if you want to send it as a text, you just, so the way this works in a workflow is this, anything that happens is going to happen in succession. So the first step would be email, and then the next action would be send an SMS. So absolutely, you could do the same thing. We say contact first name there. Hi. Comma there. We will be closed. You want to be, kind of, short with your message. It is just a text message. So certainly you want to, do that, and then you click save action, and then so as we said before, it's going to depend on what information you have on that contact. So We click on save here. And then, we would have to publish that workflow. So when you, let me just publish, actually, I don't want, that should work, okay. It should be okay. So when I add somebody to the workflow, so this particular risk right here, they're not going to get anything. It's not going to matter if I add them or not, because they're right now DND. So what DND means is that do not disturb on all channels, emails, text messages, whatever. I can't even send them anything. So if I were to basically come over here to add them to a workflow, and we click on I click add. It basically will, if I look on the workflow itself, it probably will tell me that it failed or that it was skipped. Yeah, so basically it was added to the workflow, it skipped the email, it skipped the text, and then it was removed from the workflow. And it'll tell you why it skipped it, because no email. And this one was skipped because DND is active. So, basically is, sorry, it's you can't do it. And then the other ones, so basically is in this case, I can only add it one time. So if I go back to this and this particular contact and try and add it again, this it's going to say it can't, because let me come back here to this contact. I'll try and add the workflow again. And then nothing's going to happen again. So now if we go to the workflow here, basically is it can't get added because it can only get added one time. So basically is that's the only time that it can happen. So one time, because I've said in the settings of the workflow is they can't allow multiple. So they can only be added once to that workflow. Are we able to see? Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, when we're done, we'll upload this to YouTube as well. Try to email these out to people as well, but yeah, it'll definitely be added onto the channel. Yeah, any other questions? Just let me know. Like I said, I appreciate everybody joining, and like I said, any questions at all, if we haven't answered it today, certainly send us an email, or we'll get help you out as best we can.